Jai Srila Prabhupada, Nama Prabhu ki Jai. Welcome all of you for the 12th session where we will be discussing about the content in module 11 of Soulful Japa. So, yesterday we discussed very for the first time, many would have heard that we have a spiritual mind, we have a spiritual intelligence and spiritual senses. Right now, that is being covered by material mind, material intelligence, material senses. And we saw that quote of Srila Prabhupada. And self-purification, meaning of self-purification is that the spiritual mind, spiritual intelligence and spiritual senses has to awaken from his sleepy state. And by simply touching the Nama Avatara, Shakti Avaisha Nama Avatara, experientially through our senses, chanting and hearing, and Aprakrita Nama through Shraddha and attention. This causes the spiritual mind to awaken. Nama Avatara will do everything. We simply has to associate with the Nama Avatar. Chanting and hearing the Shakti Avaisha Nama and remembering through the power of faith in the existential presence of the Aprakrita Nama, the transcendental name, who is non-different from Krishna, who is identical to Krishna. Now the question arises as to, we also saw that the holy name, the Nama Prabhu, gives us, remove the covering means he removes the ignorance that is covering the spiritual mind and gives detachment of the self from matter, and it awakens our real relationship with Krishna, our own identity as servant of Krishna and our real loving relationship with Krishna, and eventually the Nama Avatara will actually deliver us to the spiritual world and even deliver us a spiritual body. So this is what we discussed yesterday. Now, today's subject is continuing on that. What is this covering? Means my soul is covered, it is said. Now again, little more detail we got. Soul is covered with the material mind, material intelligence, is covered with material senses. So what is this covering? I mean, is it like you remove some cover? What is that covering made up of? Because once you hear there is a covering, our goal is to remove the covering. So what is this covering? Can you get hold of this covering? It's very important to understand what is the substance of this covering. Actually, it is a covering of perception. There is nothing really covering. That means ignorance is covering our true knowledge. For example, in darkness, if you see a piece of rope lying on the floor as a snake and get fear, and then when somebody puts the light on, suddenly you realize, oh no, it's not a snake, it's only a rope. All your emotions vanishes, your fear vanishes. Exactly in the same way, just like my material mind created an illusion of a snake out of the rope. Same thing my spiritual mind is doing now in this material world. As I explained to you, the soul, even though it is an illusion, one thing is there. One real thing is coming out in this world. What is that? The attention energy. That is why in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna reveals that the soul is Kshetrajna, is a knower of the field. And everything, body, mind, intelligence, its interaction, everything he classifies it under Kshetra, the field of activities. That means all three modes of material nature acting, and that's not spirit. And the living entity's only role in the material world is to know something and give decisions in what you know to move here and there. How it is executed? Through intelligence. That's a different matter. God-given intelligence. Soul directly have no access to matter. But he decides. In other words, soul knows, he decides, and he experiences sukha and dukkha. He enjoying and suffering, he creates for himself, in his mind, in his spiritual mind. Take same example of yesterday, sitting in a movie theater. You're sitting in the movie theater, your mind has forgotten your real body, you have forgotten the theater, you have forgotten that you are sitting in the seat, you have forgotten that you have come from home, everything you have forgotten. Now your spiritual mind, now what is it that is going from your seat to the screen? Your attention. It is through the attention that you are knowing what is going on in the screen. And whatever is playing on the screen, your basic starting point for you illusion is what? You have given life to those characters in the movie. And then rest of it, whatever is happening, the director of the movie, whatever is happening there, somebody moves and you think you are moving, something, etc. Relationship, you love someone there in that, then you think that you are loving. In other words, my mind is completely identifying and equating everything that is there on the screen as my identity, as my thinking, feeling, willing, and whatever sukha, dukkha, enjoyment, suffering, everything, that also I am adopting. In other words, little thinking is required to understand this from a descending process. The chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, in this material world, soul is only a kshetrajna, because this body is not its body. right now in the material world we are bodiless. The soul is bodiless. We are sitting in another body, an artificial body, which I am reading as my body. So, this awakening of the self, it means, again, take the example of rope and the snake. Covering is nothing but our thinking that this is my body, my mind, my intelligence, my senses. That is where the covering is, the starting point of that covering. What is that covering? Thinking. Spiritual mind is thinking wrongly. That is the only covering. That is called ignorance is the only covering. There is no real thing like that covering us. A pure devotee in this material world, he still has this body. His senses are there. His body is there. So physical body, physical senses, the element of mind, element of intelligence, material intelligence, these cannot cover the soul. My identification with that and thinking I am that and all other people are their bodies and thinking that all the objects and situations are all like spiritual situations, life situations. So it is a question of my perception changing. Again, as I told yesterday, you are sitting in the movie theater. Awakening means what? Awakening to the reality. That means I should become aware that I am sitting in a theater. I am becoming aware that I gave my attention and I spun that reality out of what is going on in the screen. That spinning reality ability is there for the living entity. And then awakening means getting out of the theater and going and walking in the real world and going back home. So what really happened? Awakening. Afterwards, walking and all is real. You come out of the theater, those are all real. But awakening means what? Nothing. My perception changed. I woke up. Hey, these characters are not me. Neither all the other characters are them. Of course, we have to do little, it's a very crude analogy because what we are doing, what we are in is yesterday I repeatedly told you, is not exactly like that movie. It is a three-dimensional real world from which I read a material world into my mind. Matter world is different. Matter world is objective world. Material world is what I read out of the matter world. So I read out of the matter world that my identity, I am this body. That means my ananda has to come from this body. All my rasa has to come from this body. My existential feeling should come from this body. But the body dies, I get shaken up because my nature is Sat. I need existential feeling means I need eternal existential feeling. That's the nature of me. But suddenly it dies. So it's very artificial for me. So nobody likes death. Everybody wants everything eternal. Similarly, Chitta. Nobody wants to get cheated. They want real thing. So this is Chitta, Achitta. I'm being cheated that I am this body. Whereas I am divine. I am not this body of flesh and bone. I am not a body who has the limitations of flesh and bone. But naturally I need a body. That is the reason when we walk and we see each other, we never see our bodies as flesh and bone. When you shake people's hand, you never think that, of the bone inside and all those things. Bones are also shaking. No, you don't think. Because it's Chinmaya. We are thinking this body is also Chinmaya because this is the way in the spiritual world is. It's not phenomenally constructed body, Chinmaya Sharira. So waking up, in other words, basically, please understand, waking up here or uncovering of material senses, uncovering of material body, uncovering of material intelligence means not identifying that it is your intelligence, it is your mind, it is your body. No, it is body of Prakriti. I can still use my intelligence, thinking it is an instrument, thinking that it is just like I can drive a car after knowing that I am not the car. Car is not me. So, now let me come to why I am explaining this is for one very simple thing, to increase your faith that we, even in conditioned stage, we are touching the aprakrita nama provided attention is given. So whether in the spiritual world or in the material world, we give out attention. Just like after I wake up from the movie, my same attention is going into reality. In the other case, my attention was going into false things on the screen. But my attention was real. So my attention is even touching the matter. So the aprakrita nama, the transcendental name of the Lord, is incarnated into the Shabda, material Shabda, matter sound. Let's not call it material Shabda because Krishna's name is never material name. You can say it because it is Shakti Avesha Nama. But let us call it as the matter name, made of matter's vibration. The matter name, when I see how do you see a matter name sound? Chanting and hearing. The sound can be related with our attention in two ways, by uttering it and by hearing it. So my Shakti Aveshanama, I give attention and I chant and hear. My attention doesn't stop there because my spiritual mind alone is giving this attention. Who is in illusion? I am in illusion. That means my attention is always there. In every living entity's conditioned souls, the attention that is coming out is spiritual. But it is engaged in misreading reality and creating an illusory world in their head. So that is all it is. Simply associating with the Nama, we should have faith that whether I am in illusion, whether I am in absolute reality, my attention is coming out. And it is said that the Lord as aprakrita nama enters the Shabda, Nama Shabda of produced by my tongue. And when I give attention to Shakti Avesha Nama, automatically my attention is also touching the aprakrita nama. That faith should be there. Because why it can touch? I don't have spiritual senses and spiritual to touch the aprakrita nama. But I have attention to touch because attention is spiritual either way. In the material world or in the spiritual world, attention is spiritual. So therefore just see how valuable our attention is. The biggest thing the Maya has played with us is to take away our attention. Bewilder us with some other field from the real field. Put us in a movie, a three-dimensional movie, a real movie. And the projector is not outside, projector is in the head. Each of us have created our own movies. That's why my movie is different, your movie is different, everybody's movie is different. Everybody's world is different. But all have read their world, interpreted their world out of the same common creation of the Lord, which goes through creation, maintenance, destruction, dissolution, which is a reality. So the connection of the soul with God is there even in the conditioned state. We should not think because we are covered, how can I ever touch the Prakritanama? We can't touch. We are insensitive. Right now, but one difference is there between the attention in the dream and the attention in the real world. What is that? The attention in the dream is a dreamy attention. It is engaged in dream content. And awakened attention is applying its attention in the real world. Just like when I sleep in the night, I have attention. Without attention, I cannot see the dream. But that attention is dreamy attention. Same attention when I wake up, it becomes awakened attention. So self-realization simply means awakened attention. That means coming out of the dream. So what is a covering? Covering is nothing but our interpretation of this world, our perception. That is why it is said that whenever we say illusion, it is connected to perception. You cannot say, okay, here is a real thing and here is an illusion. You cannot say that. Because illusion is not a thing. Illusion is a misreading of this thing. There is no thing outside like that called illusion. Illusion is in the perceiver. It's a function of perceiver. So the moment perceiving means what? The moment I perceive with true knowledge and I don't misperceive that I am this body and everybody is their body, my awakening has begun. Because this world is not illusion. My reading is illusion. And that is why Chitta Shakti, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The Lord's Chitta Shakti touches our soul, then that is good enough for the flow of energy and awakening us. So quickly, let me just run you through some of the things. Next 6-7 minutes, I'll run you through to recapitulate some of the main things. Okay, every time it's good to connect. One is that the Lord, as an incarnation, as a sound incarnation, is right now active on this earth. His Leelas are going on. And how has he come? He has entered into the sound of the devotees who chant the holy name. And what is his Leela? He gives them association, wakes them up from that idea that they are this body and they are part of this social world. Finally awaken them that they are not this body, they are part of a spiritual world. This material world itself being one corner of the spiritual world. They have their own spiritual body and they are eternal servants of Krishna. All the propensities that we are trying to do through this body is only a perverted reflection of the soul's real nature of spiritual mind, spiritual intelligence, spiritual senses, wanting, perfect love, perfect, freedom, wants perfect love, perfect pleasure. All these things are nature of the soul. And in the material body, by identifying the material body, nobody can satisfy these things. Unless they change the field, they go back to Godhead or serve the Lord in this material body without identifying with it. Now, as far as how, so that is the incarnation of the Lord. Then we talked about the key point. We gave I coined the word called attention touch. There is a reason why I gave these terms, because there are certain concepts in it. One of the intention of japa is to get that attention touch of the nama, because attention is spiritual. My senses are not spiritual, but my attention, now you are hearing me, you are giving attention, that is spiritual. So attention touch means getting access to the transcendental incarnation means only through attention. So therefore we talked about mindless chanting simply keep you disconnected from the Namavatara and the benefits of Namavatara. No doubt, even simply chanting without attention also gives lot of punya. Nectar of Devotion says it is one of the highest punya. Punya means what? You can encash it for material benefits. Even an offensive chanter means if he has offended, but he simply chants, the result that he gets even materially is sukruti is unlimited. So anyway, that apart. So our business is not that. Our business is to come out of mindless japa and come to mindful japa and soulful japa. And then why not directly to soulful japa? I explained that there are two stages. One is through discipline, you connect your attention. And then by virtue of that connection, your chittam, your consciousness gets purified. When it gets purified, you will be able to increase your ability to touch the holy name. In other words, Shraddha will start coming. All these qualities that are required, understanding of what is japa, all these things will come as we somehow or the other we touch the nama. In other words, the knowledge for good japa comes from the nama only, from mindful chanting. But mindful chanting initially there has to be tapas. Remember that? You can call that mindful chanting as tapomaya japa. When you do tapas for the pleasure of the Lord, it is called tapomaya yajna. Prabhupada uses this word in the Bhagavad Gita. Tapomaya yajna. So you can say this is tapomaya japa. And I told you how long? Hardly 6 months. Because training the mind is very fast. Mind learns things very fast. What it should do, what it should not do. But it's a process. Okay. Now, from Tapomaya Yajna, by connecting with the holy name, then as I told you, ultimately, next, it should move into soulful japa. And what is the soulful japa, difference between mindful japa and soulful japa? In mindful japa, you have very minimum things. Savior, the Supreme Lord is on my tongue, I should give him attention and I should serve him. I should offer my attention, I should give respect by giving attention, touch him. Attention, touch, intention, you go on doing it, tapomaya yajna. So basic things only are in the background. Now, soulful japa means your background passive attention. There is a conscious active attention where your free will is applying and doing some activity, and there is a background passive attention which is also conscious mind. It is not subconscious mind. The source of the content in the background conscious mind is subconscious. Okay. Again, I'm recalling to all of you, there is a conscious foreground mind, there is a conscious background mind, and there is a subconscious mind. Now, in order to increase, when the background consciousness or background content in the background content is rich with facts, that means knowledge about about japa, knowledge about sevya, knowledge about seva, and facts, faith in the Lord's presence, His incarnation, and His merciful reciprocation, faith, facts, faith, feelings of respect, gratitude, love, surrender, all these feelings, and the purpose of this devotional service of japa. What is the purpose is very clear. When all these things in the background they play, they are very rich, then my foreground chanting Hare Krishna, chanting and hearing and tasking becomes meaningful and becomes joyful. That way you can say soulful japa means anandamaya japa, and mindful japa is tapomaya japa. Okay, so see the advantages of developing the background content. You don't have to struggle for tapas. Tapas means sacrifice. A little stiff it is. But if you develop, your attention problem will be solved. If it becomes very clear to you who is before you, why you are serving, and all this, the mechanical thing goes away. As I told, japa is a loving relationship. Japa is not a process. In the beginning it may be a process, but otherwise it is not. It is more than a process. It is a relationship through a process. Okay. So that is some of things to recall. So this also adds on to your background faith. What is that? I am touching God. You cannot see, but you should have faith that I am touching Him. So then we get very encouraged. I am not just touching the ordinary sound. There behind the ordinary sound, there is the empowering sound, who is the Prakrita Nama, and I am touching. And through that touch, to my spiritual mind, Lord's Kripa will flow in, and my spiritual mind will wake up out of this dream that I am this body. Physical situation doesn't change when you wake up. When you go back to Godhead, it will change. Just like when you are sitting in the theater, you wake up. You are woken up. Your illusion is gone because you are seeing the real theater and not the movie. In the same way, self-realized person is a Jivan Mukta. He lives in this material world without identifying with the body, without seeing other people as their bodies, seeing all souls being in illusion, and he talks to them like Bhaktivedanta Swami talks to them. Actually, he is talking to their soul. Wake up, wake up, wake up. You are haunted by your bodily identity. You are not that. You are part and parcel of Krishna. You are divine. You are not this mundane body which has birth, death, old age, disease. So we'll take up today's questions. What I have decided is backlog questions. One exclusive session I will take, because many people would want to hear the answers to their question as they come up in each session. In the end, something will remain, but I will see that we answer all, because these question answers help us recapitulate everything that we have heard so far. It's a very good combination. My presenting the module and taking question answers. Okay. Prabhu, what is mind, chittam and heart? Where all these situated? And when we say Cheto Darpana Madhya, it means mind cleansing or soul or heart cleansing. Okay, please forget everything that you knew about this. Start afresh. There is a gross body which is made up of Panchabhuta, and there is a subtle body which is Manas, Buddhi and Ahankara. So these three things, Manas, Buddhi and Ahankara, just like there is gross body, that is a subtle body. Just like gross body has legs and hands, the function of the leg is different, function of the hand is different. Similarly, the subtle body has got, you can say, three legs, three limbs. One is the mind, one is the intelligence, one is the ego, false ego. Okay. And as how have I formed this gross body? Again, by taking gross matter from outside world with my limbs, putting in my mouth, it digested, food became this body, bigger and bigger, and from a baby body, it became bigger and bigger. So I am this body. Similarly, subtle body, exactly. Subtle body has grown from a child, mind, and it took input into it. It saw his father, it saw his mother, it saw everything, and then it started creating all those. Through the senses, the mind started building up. So now, let us say I have an adult mind. That means all the impressions, they're all stored. Just like, what food I ate only has converted and become this body. So that accumulation of experiences is called Chittam. Chittam means heart only. Okay? Chittam means heart. Chittam is nothing but collected mind, intelligence, false ego. There is an online mind, intelligence, false ego. When it acts, there's a deposit created, and that, just like when I eat food, I act with my body only. But that same food grows the body, makes the body grow. And it leaves something behind, and it ejects something behind. Same way, mind also. You see, so many things we see the whole day. In the dream is nothing but ejection, organizing and ejection. What it wants, it will keep. What it doesn't want, it will all throw out. So we feel fresh next day. So our mind, our subtle body is collection of all our subtle activities, thinking, feeling, willing, right from childhood, probably previous lives also. They must be in a deeper level, because children are born with music intelligence, mathematical intelligence. These are all Chittam from the previous life. Because subtle body we don't give up. Only gross body we give up when we die. So Chittam means a collection of all those impressions is there. So that is Chittam. So when we say purification, mind cleansing means it cleanses the collective Chittam of all our thing that I am thinking it is me, it was me. All that gets cleansed, number one. You will feel your fresh self as I am servant of Krishna. I am not any of those things. Neither any of those old desires are my desire. Like that, you start feeling that when you not only dissociate with Chittam, dissociate with those false egos. By the way, contaminated consciousness, it is called because they are all thinking, feeling, willing impressions of false ego. False ego is on the top. You can also call Chittam as false ego body. If that is another way of looking at it. Because actually there are only 8 elements. So false ego body is called Chittam, you can say. So it gets cleansed, number one. Number two, chanting engages our doing and seeing. That means our doing and seeing in relationship with God, in service of God. And therefore immediately our original thinking, feeling, willing is also engaged in it. Apart from, so therefore, apart from there is a push from our Chittam, and you can give fresh thinking, feeling, willing from the soul, because soul, it can give fresh thinking, feeling, willing. And by guidance of a spiritual master, we have fresh ego. I am servant of Krishna. I have a fresh because now I think I am this body. Now after I become Krishna conscious, I think I am this body. I will still think, but it's a role play. This body is just an instrument. It's a role play. I will have because outside everybody is also in that ego. No, I have to play as a ego. I cannot say I am not this body if I go to the chief minister, right, to preach. So he will look at me as this body. So I also have to respond as a body only. I have to wear proper dress and everything and all those things. I have to still think that I am this body, but not that I am this eternal body. It's a role play. So cleansing means it cleanses the heart, means cleanses the subtle body, number one. Cleanses our tendency to think, feel and will for false ego to think, feel and will for our real ego. Kindly explain dream analogy as per module 10. I think I have explained today. That is the main thing. Second time I have explained. If you don't understand, if you still have doubt, tomorrow you can put some questions. Okay, your personal problem of, which preventing you from, health is preventing you from using your fingers in chanting. You are feeling pain. So difficult to chant on beats. That is your question. If it's difficult to chant on beats, there are other ways also. If only index finger is a problem, I'll give you one very interesting incident. Once I had been to our Mysore farm, and then I was, went on a long japa to do, whole day japa. I just went for a retreat on my own without anybody. And there was a gardener there left for any help for me. And first day I saw him simply sitting. Second day I thought, why can't he also chant? Then I thought, chanting, how will chant? It requires so much of, my mind was saying, how can people chant? But then I said, this is Yuga Dharma, no, everybody can chant. Then suddenly it came in my mind, probably he can chant 16 rounds also. How is that possible? Let me try. Then from then on, Krishna gave me that intelligence. I called him, made him sit on the doorstep. I told that he's an uneducated laborer. I said, go get me, go and pick up 108 small stones from that heap of sand. First I asked him, can you do some work? Which why not? I'll do the work. Any work I'll do. Then I gave him this work. Then he laughed. This is the work you're telling me. All right. Okay, this is the work. You bring. He brought 108. I said, keep it below in the bottom step. Then I told him, you do one thing. I'll give you, next work is, you have to shift these 108 stones from bottom step to the top step. Okay? Count and do it. Krishna was giving me intelligence. The result was something fantastic. So he started picking one by one, keeping on the step. Next step. And then 108 he counted. Then again he laughed like a kid. What, Swamiji, you are telling me this kind of work? So I told him, do one thing now. Okay, I'll give you much simpler work. Because in the other work you have to keep count. It is the first stone or second stone or up to 108. Now don't worry about number and all. You go on repeating the same thing again and again. What is that? I took out a mantra card and gave him in Kannada. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Swami, nanigidalla baralla. I cannot memorize all these things. What to do? I read. No, I cannot read. That's the problem. The next 15 minutes in a sound memory. That means I taught him how to Hare Krishna first, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Tell like that, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Somehow the sound rhythm he got in about 15-20 minutes, he repeated the whole mantra. Now I told him, you do one thing. So take each bead, repeat once, chant once, bring it down to the lower step. This work can you do? What is there? Very easy, I can do. He said. Then he took one by one, and then in front of me, in about 15 minutes he took, because first time he's chanting, and 108 rounds, 108 beats he chanted. I was shocked. Oh my God, this is Yuga Dharma. He's able to chant 108. Then next time, then he himself is telling, Beerayanana Kalsa Idara Kodri Swami, give me some other work which is little difficult, he said. Even in a very playful mood he was. Then I told him, go go to the same heap of sand. 3 times this size, get 16 stones, I told him. So he went, everything for him is a work. He went and took 16 and came. I said, okay, keep it on the top step by the side. Then I told him that, see, take one of this 16 and keep it aside as separate group. Now whatever you did 108 times shifting from top to bottom, now you do some bottom to top. Put one more. Like that, by evening you finish, all 16 stones should come here. That is your work. What is there? Very easy. I went up, I did my japa, and I came in the evening, and I found he's finished all the 16. That means a new person has chanted 16 rounds in a very simple way, chanting and hearing, chanting and hearing. So, if your fingers don't work, please find a way to count. Okay, innovative way to count, because counting helps. My question is, why should we chant 16 rounds? Because Srila Prabhupada, the Acharya, the pure devotee of the holy name, according to modern times, he has given this number 16 rounds, and Prabhupada was very clear also, please minimum 16 rounds. He did not say, there's nothing rigid about 16 rounds. Minimum 16 rounds is rigid, okay? If you're chanting 24 rounds, very good, do it. Hare Krishna Prabhu, I am a college going student. I chant most of the rounds on counter as I have to utilize free time in college. Can I get the same benefit of chanting on Japamala? You see, chanting on Japamala has its own value of moving the beads on the touching the tulsi has its own benefit. But otherwise, if you in no other way, then you can do 16 rounds. But always keep in mind, let me maximize my rounds on the beads, at least 3-4 rounds, let me finish at home, and then do the rest otherwise in the counter. This counter habit is very bad. That should not become a habit. Okay, so for today I am stopping here. We'll continue. Please don't be disappointed. All the questions will be answered in one separate session. Just like after 8 sessions, I took one session, all questions. Same way we will answer all these questions. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. We'll see you tomorrow.